pretty aesthetic you get when you've got those shingles, particularly lapping on different directions alternately. They want to think that all of their lives was spent in hard, grueling work, but I suspect that it was just about the same as ours. They had their free times, they had their hard times, they had their heavy work times during the day and during the year, and other times when they could relax. Like a farmer, I always thought, what a deal. Got a hard job planting, a little bit of weeding, fertilizing, and then harvest. Other than that, free time, particularly in the winter. It's closed here, so we'll move on. That windmill looks a little bit different, so we'll wander up and take a closer look at it. This one's dramatically different than the others in all ways, including the wings are different. The overall style's different. And it's curious, that structure on the right, which may be used to support the mechanism inside. We'll go in and take a look. Here we get some drawings. I suggest you go online to get something in English. Like it was a mill, you can see here rough grain being poured in 18, migrates through 19, 24, and 25, and out 21 and 22 into the bag. But notice this is all wood gearing. You can be sure the people who handled this, the engineer mechanics, really knew what they were doing. Could replace these quickly when necessary. Beams coming all the way down here and having something here for attachment. I don't know if it was attachment to the beam or for the beam to be secured. But this, I think, is part of that structure that runs outside to support the windmill in its cranking, which has got to be a considerable force when the wind's really cranking on it. Look at the size of that center beam. Is it all one piece? I don't know. But it's held together with bolts. How long could this thing run before significant pieces had to be replaced? Like this gear down here. But then I assumed you made copies of that gear and had several handy. Go downstairs and see what we can see. It appears that this was just used for weighing out what they ground up on behalf of the farmer or whomever. Here are some metal gearings, I believe. Certainly would have reflected. Those are iron, so that would have reflected a step upward. And notice that this was belts. Here we're 2 floors up, and you can see that those are chutes. Probably grain was dropped down into here and then processed through these mechanisms, which probably had large grinding stones in them. This would have been the height of the technology in its day. And through here that they hauled up the raw grain or whatever to be processed through these chutes. This is where the grain was dumped in, probably brought up here and stored prior to these huge shaft turning. This innovation, this could be lowered down, which would lower that wheel on that shaft down onto the wheel there, which is attached to the main windmill shaft, allowing you then to use this as a hoist to draw up those heavy sacks of grain. Okay, and here we get a view of the massive innards. Here's the shaft that goes out to the windmill itself, the wings, if you will. Notice the post gearing there. We're transferring then to this gear. I wonder if that metal gear downstairs had anything to do with replacing wood up here. That we've seen the upstairs, we can see that these small gears were turned by the main gear, and these are what turned the grinding devices upstairs. boxes may well have held the ground flour. We're going to go down to that collection of buildings we can see somewhat through the trees. Right there where the blue starts. Then we'll migrate down towards the entrance again. Just a note, the windmill was also a blue section, and we're in the blue section now. I'll just do a 360 from the edge of the entire exhibit. And then we'll walk down the street exploring these various houses. I used the rustic outhouse, even far more rustic outhouses out there. Trees. Yes, I won't. Funky little building. My guess is it's a bathhouse because it's two parts. And also notice the whatever once was fragrant on the side. Yep. Well, the barns, and here a trough that may be a device for catching water in between these two buildings. Whether it's original or not, don't know. Seems to be. Also have kept this area in between the buildings a lot drier. For a wagon or some kind of machine where you attached animals, I don't know. Piece of machinery, I don't know that. Oh yes, I do too. Breaks up the soil, I think. Ah, fishing. I wonder if there's a river nearby. Here, a brick fireplace. Notice that's not the aesthetics level that we've seen before. This may be an earlier, more primitive in the sense of difficult time. Little mini church. I think it functions the same as those crucifixes we've seen in several villages. One family homestead, a home to the right, and there are the barns, how the gate swung. They're a pretty and small windmill. You built what your financial and literal resources allowed for. The inside did not survive, but the design seems to, according to history, reflect folklore of the Russian culture. As far as the fence is concerned in this little compound and this front building, which probably was an addition to the two buildings in the back, we see pretty much milled wood, indicating early 20th century. You wonder to what degree the moss actually ended up protecting the roof, reducing the need to change it as often as they had to. It was very tightly made. Could it have been the granary? Huh. Some of what we're looking at, well, those are belts over there, I think, probably from machines. And these may be either wheels or, no, they're not. They're loops. Probably like this was. It may have something to do with harvesting. Houses that are not open for us to look inside, I suspect, don't have anything inside. Tacked on to this house by this fence with a gate is another building. I assume it's just another barn complex. On the back of the house there is a porch. Don't know if that roughed in wood implies that there once was a doorway to it. I think that's a bathhouse, but we'll go over and look. Sure as you don't investigate, you'll discover in the afterlife that it was really the most spectacular gem in the whole place.